Department of Community and Family Medicine. So Dr. Patru, kindly introduce the esteemed speaker to the gathering.
So good afternoon all, good morning all, and on this occasion, and I would congratulate the Department of Psychiatry for holding this interesting webinar for faculty, staff, residents, and general public in general. So the theme is for this Poshan Maha is very appropriate, and we have a galaxy of speakers from all specialties. And my colleague, dear friend, Dr. Saubhagya Jena is going to talk about maternal nutrition, which is key. And if you connect with the previous speaker, Dr. Swayam has talked about life cycle approach. And within the life cycle, maximum period is during the reproductive and child health period. So without wasting more time, I would request my colleague, Dr. Saubhagya, to take it from here. And any questions we'll take up at the end. Thank you, Dr. Jena, please. You can share your slides, Dr. Jena.
It's enabled, no? You can share.
Am I audible? Hello, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, slides are visible and is it moving?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Namaskar to all of you. Good morning to everyone. Thanks to the chairperson, my colleague, my dear friend Binod, for the nice introduction. And my special thanks to the organizing team, Dr. Padhi, and all my colleagues and respected seniors, my teachers, dear friends. So my topic assigned is holistic nutrition for pregnant women and lactating mothers. As my chairperson already talked, that is, gave an idea regarding the reproductive period actually in women. And important phases in this reproductive period are pregnancy and lactation, where nutrition is an important issue. Then already a lot of discussions are going on regarding the Poshan Maha, importance of this. And in this approach, that is the Poshan Abhijan themes, we can see there are two aspects, like one is antenatal care. And one important part of antenatal care is proper nutrition and advice regarding the nutrition. Second is optimal breastfeeding. So, and during this breastfeeding, nutrition for the breastfed mother is an important issue also. So I am going to cover these two aspects: nutrition during pregnancy and nutrition during lactation. Then let me declare that I don't have any conflict of interest in this presentation. And my presentation will be under these headings: introduction, what do we mean by holistic nutrition, and a little bit physiological changes during pregnancy, which is related to the nutrition during pregnancy. And though the topic is assigned to me during pregnancy and lactation, but it starts well before actually, preconceptional nutrition before starting the pregnancy. Then I'll summarize the important points and conclusion. So to introduce, to all of us know that how nutrition is important. So here left side you can see, when a woman is pregnant during pregnancy, she is pregnant with the grandchild also. So what does it mean actually? It means, suppose inside the uterus, if it is a female child, then nutrition is an important issue. And in this female child, already during this phase of life, there will be development of the oocytes actually. So proper development of oocytes are dependent on three important aspects, that is exercise, healthy diet, and low stress actually. So if due to any issue, the oocytes are not developed properly or some aspects are there, then the next generation is going to suffer. That is the reason we have to give proper care during pregnancy, specifically nutritional aspects. And it is cornerstone of the prenatal care. And it influences, that means nutrition during pregnancy influences the woman during pregnancy, and it also influences the development of the fetus and neonate. So knowledge regarding proper nutrition is important for the pregnant woman, the other important persons of the society, their family members, healthcare providers. So for everyone, proper knowledge of nutrition is important. Then coming to holistic nutrition, what do we mean by holistic nutrition? So holistic, the terminology has two meanings. One is in spiritual aspect, one is our health aspect. So in health aspect, the meaning of holistic is inclusivity. That means taking in total, not in a silos actually, thinking of everything in total. The nutrition, which came from a Latin word that is nutrire, means to nourish. So to nourish in toto, that is the meaning of holistic nutrition. Then what does it mean? That is eating healthy foods and close to natural state. We should advise regarding taking of unrefined, unprocessed, organic and locally grown foods. So that is the idea behind this holistic nutrition, and eating for mind, body and soul. That is what holistic nutrition is. The proper way of eating, enjoy the food while eating, divide into particular portions, give importance to natural foods. So that is the idea regarding the holistic nutrition. In the principles, there are 10 principles of holistic nutrition. These are given here actually. Eat whole food and raw foods, go organic, decrease the sweet, drink your water, and reduce the sodium intake, purchase locally produced foods, try to eliminate the wheat flour, eat healthy fats, and watch your portions, and everything in moderation. Try to decrease. That means someone has nicely told that if we will not control our food, actually, we have to take medicines like your food. So everything, we require everything, but in proper amount and try to decrease it. That are the principles of holistic nutrition. Then coming to the physiological changes in pregnancy, which is related to nutrition, we all know there occurs weight gain during pregnancy and so many hormonal changes. That hormonal changes and other changes during pregnancy has manifestations like cardiological changes, hematological changes, gastrointestinal, that you have to keep in mind because of the early part of pregnancy like nausea, vomiting. And during this phase of life also, we have to prepare the pregnant woman for the breastfeeding after the delivery. And I will come to the three important things like the weight gain and hematological and protein changes during pregnancy. So here what happens, the important thing is hematological changes. We all know that during pregnancy, because I know this audience are a mixed population. So for them, it is important. That is non-medical persons or those who are attending pregnant women, some might be attending. For them, what happens in blood changes during pregnancy, there is increase in plasma volume and blood volume, that is red cell mass, but that is appropriate actually. So increase in plasma volume is more as compared to red cell mass. So ultimately leading to decreased hemoglobin concentration and demand of iron. So that is one concept. We have to give more of iron during pregnancy. Then the next picture shows the proteins actually, be it albumin or globulin or total protein that are decreased during pregnancy, and that is more in the second and third trimester of pregnancy. So we have to give protein supplementation. That is relevant in relation to nutritional supplementation during pregnancy. Then this hypothesis, that is what is known as a thrifty phenotype hypothesis, what it says that if the fetus has grown in a nutritional poor maternal environment, that is undernutrition, so there are some genetic or epigenetic changes which ultimately leads to two-way, that is the unborn child might have nutritional poor environment, or in other way also nutrition are rich maternal involvement and leading to lifestyle diseases in later part of our life, like type 2 diabetes and other cardiac and heart diseases can occur. So nutrition specifically, though our president sir has nicely told that undernutrition is a problem, now overnutrition is also a problem. But this happens in the cases of undernutrition, growth restricted babies, so ultimately leading to the lifestyle changes. That what we tell it is fetal origin of adult diseases. And then preconceptional care, yes, that is important in relation to nutrition. And here I want to focus on one important aspect. Though we are giving much of importance in preconceptional care to the female partner or the woman, there are some advice in relation to nutrition and lifestyle changes for the male partner also. So for the female partner, follow a natural pregnancy diet, take vitamins and folic acids. That is most important, specifically folic acid at least minimum 2 months prior to planning pregnancy. And if there are associated factors like previous history of neural tube defects or taking some medicines, then the dose has to be increased. Limit caffeine intake, relax, and reduce the stress, stop smoking, alcohol, drugs. So that is important part of preconceptional counseling for the female partners. For the male partner, cut down the alcohol, reduce the weight if it is high BMI, and avoid raising the body temperature, because that also might interfere in the quality of spermatozoa, leading to all next consequences. So that we have to keep in mind. Nutrition is an important part, and holistic nutrition in preconceptional care also. The nutrition during pregnancy. So we all know regarding what are the good foods, what are the bad foods, but 2-3 points I want to just highlight. In general, it has been advised that the caloric requirement is increases during pregnancy, that is roughly around 300 kilocalorie per day. There is increased in protein requirement. I already explained why, of course, what are the physiological changes, roughly from 0.8 gram per kg per day to around 1.1 gram per kg per day. That is rough estimation of around 60 to 70 gram protein requirement per day. So that we have to keep in mind. Carbohydrate, it can constitute out of the total calories around 45 to 65% of daily calorie, and fat is as for pre-pregnancy like around 20 to 35%. And we have to keep in mind regarding advice regarding giving fibers. Then in fat, actually giving advice regarding take omega-3 fatty acids, that is omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, proper combinations. Then weight gain during pregnancy. Previously, it was a blind like that. In whole pregnancy, this much weight gain occurs. But now the concept is how much it should according to the pre-pregnancy body weight. Suppose the pre-pregnancy body weight is less than, if that are the recommendations from international literature. This I have taken from our Government of India guidelines. If it is a normal BMI, that means in between 18.5 to 23, then there should be a minimum. It is written as a minimum weight gain of 10 kg by ton. And if it is undernourished, that is BMI, pre-pregnancy BMI is less than 18.5, there should be a minimum weight gain of around 13 kg by ton. If it is overweight, BMI is more than 23, the weight gain should be around 7 to 10 kg by ton. And if it is obesity, if it is more, still the weight gain will decrease. That means if it is ideal BMI, minimum should be 10 kg weight gain by ton. Again, this division by ton in first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester it changes actually. So first trimester, there might not be any weight gain. Majority of weight gain occurs in second and third trimester. Similarly, the nutritional or caloric requirement increases in second and third trimester. So if it is the normal weight, how much should occur in each trimester specific weight gain? If it is undernourished, trimester specific weight gain. If it is overweight or obesity, there should be a trimester specific weight gain. Majority of weight gain and requirement occurs in second half of pregnancy, that will after 20 weeks of pregnancy. Then undernourished, they should avoid something. That they should take some extra things, and overweight, they should avoid some things actually to keep that goal in mind. And overnourished, or overweight, they should reduce sugar, refined oil, and consumption of nuts and oil seeds. Whereas undernourished, they should increase the intake of pulses, oil, and nuts. Then this is the recommendation for Indian women. Not only the macronutrients, what I just talked, the importance of micronutrients and caloric requirement during pregnancy and lactation, that though it is given as overall, but it is depend on the pre-pregnancy BMI, that is increased requirement of almost everything, be it protein, calcium, iron, vitamin, different type of vitamins, and this micronutrients like iodine, magnesium. Magnesium is an important part, and that is controlling the blood pressure required. So we are now getting a lot of cases of hypertensive disorder in pregnancy. So that should be kept in mind. At least I want to highlight this protein requirement, energy requirement as per BMI, calcium requirement, specifically in second half of pregnancy, at least 1200, and during lactation also, and iron requirement. Then food preferences, while we are giving the advice, actually, we should keep in mind, it is that means one size never fits to all. So we should customize it. And this approach to the food preference should be flexible, individual, and culturally sensitive. What they want, what they can afford, and what is required for them. So while you are giving that advice to them, we should keep these things in mind. Then majority of the participants have an idea, but just to refresh that, these 4 or 5 important components of our nutrition, like iron, calcium, and their sources actually. Iron as green leafy vegetables, jaggery, dry fruits, and meat. Whereas calcium from milk products, vitamins, green leafy vegetables and fruits, protein, and fats. But most important thing is, prefer using a variety of locally available seasonal foods. Take vegetable and fruits grown in and around you. So to fulfill the requirement of this nutrition. Then diet chart. Yes, this is the chart recommended by the Government of India, specifically for the eastern part of India. The food intake is divided at least around to 6 phases actually in 24 hours, starting from morning at 6 a.m. taking milk, and how much requirement is there for normal, how much requirement for undernourished, and how much requirement for overweight. At least morning they should take milk with sugar if it is overweight, without sugar. Then breakfast at 8 a.m. what should be the portions. Snacks, again mid-morning snacks at around 10:30 a.m. what should be taken. Then lunch, what should be the composition at around 1 p.m. And evening again, they can take seasonal food or some snacks. Next is dinner, and before going to sleep. So if we'll go in general, what it has been given that according to the BMI, how much is it required, then divided into different portions, take small but frequent amount of food, and culturally sensitive, locally available, and affordability. That we have to keep in mind. Then dietary plan, just same thing for the Eastern India, what I have highlighted, and the varieties of things which can be given or which can be advised to the pregnant women in different portions. Just a rough idea what they can take in breakfast, paratha, and boiled eggs for the protein requirement. During lunch also, you can see curd rice and other components, keeping the principles in mind. Then as per the weight gain or BMI, we have to advise what to take, what not to take. We should be careful while giving advice regarding, because this general concept is that during pregnancy, the woman must eat for 2. Everybody thinks that because a fetus is there, and these issues multiplies when there are multiple pregnancies also. So that is not exactly correct. They require some extra food, extra of everything, but not double of everything. So that we have to keep in mind. Next, options that are available. Lot of options are there, like breakfast, what they can take. In snacks, what they can take. Lunch and dinner, which sweets we can take. greeny vegetable and fruits are an important component, and protein supplementation is an important component.
I think, Dr.
Hello?
Vinay, your slides went off. So
Yes. Just I'm checking it. What was the issue? Give me just 1 second.
Meanwhile, the audience can post their questions in the chat box. We'll attempt to answer them now, and the remaining questions we'll take up with the experts and get back to the audience. So you can use this time to post your questions. And also, we have shared a feedback form to help us create better programs next time. So we request all the audience who are attending, these are just simple 5 questions to fill up their responses in the Google document and send it back.
Yes, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, we'll take it. 10 minutes. Online, just 5 minutes. Okay. So there is some issue with it. So there are some do's and don'ts also during pregnancy. So the do's are take vitamin C rich foods like gooseberries, that is amla, guava, orange, for absorption of plant foods, and it is required for that is acting of the iron for synthesis of hemoglobin. Vitamin C is an important aspect. Take green leafy vegetables and other vegetables. In case of nausea and vomiting, which is occurs in the earlier part of pregnancy, first trimester, should take small and frequent meals. Expose yourself to the sunlight, that is advised to the pregnant women. And take help of Dr. Swam has nicely discussed, that is what are the government systems are in place. Take help of Anganwadi centers and other programs from by Government of India and state government, and add a variety to your diet. Next, don'ts, all of us know that avoid smoking, don't consume carbonated beverages, eat cooked food, that is don't eat overcooked or hydrogenated food, don't sleep. That is one important advice, because there is due to effect of progesterone, there will be relaxation of lower esophageal sphincter. If they will go for immediately, there is more chance of heartburn. So that is one important advice. After taking food, don't immediately go for sleeping, at least 15 to 20 minutes, sit or move here and there. Don't wash vegetables after peeling, and consume tea, coffee and caffeine. Reduce the caffeine intake and do proper physical activities. Special consideration, there are some special situations like multiple pregnancy, it may be twin or triplets. In that condition, we require some extra food that you have to keep in mind. And in obesity, already I have discussed, in that condition, the weight gain and the energy requirement is decreased due to pregnancy. It should not be as per that overall this much weight gain should occur. Vegetarians, we know vegetarian foods, there are different type of vegetarians, including the vegans. So in that condition, we have to give proper advice, because protein and is an important issue along with other vitamins. Then pregnancy following bariatric surgeries. This is not uncommon actually. Now our president, again, I want to give emphasis that recently, 2 weeks back only, we delivered a pregnant woman whose BMI was 42 actually. So overweight and obesity is not uncommon, and now we are getting patients also following bariatric surgery. This has a different set of implications. So micronutrient deficiency, vitamin deficiency, that we have to keep in mind. So in this special situation. Then the last part, that is during breastfeeding and lactation, we have to keep in mind that the composition and amount of breast milk are dependent on so many factors, and one of the important factor in maternal nutrition and nutritional status. So that we have to take care. And what again, same portions, same way of eating, calorie, little bit more calorie, more than 500 kilocalorie per day in first 6 months following delivery, that is during exclusive breastfeeding. Next 6 months to 1 year, around 400 extra kilocalorie, increase protein, fat again same composition, add minerals and omega-3 fatty acids. Actually, development of brain, CNS and eyes are dependent on these things. And water, minimum at least 8 glass of water and other nutrients should be given, and proper rest also during breastfeeding. Then to summarize, so I just to highlight that in pregnancy and lactation, there is increased requirement of energy, both macro and micronutrients. And the gestational weight gain is not a one value actually. It should be age for the pre-pregnancy BMI. Special attention should be given to the special circumstances, because one size never fits to all. It should be an individualized approach. And while giving the advice regarding the food, it should keep in mind their access to the food, socioeconomic status, and what is their food and culture and dietary habits, and all these things should be keep in mind. So to conclude, yes, all of us know that the plate concept, that in a plate while you are taking food, what should be at least, if you will divide roughly 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 should be fruits, 1/4 should be vegetables, 1/4 should be grains, and another 1/4 is protein, and along with another small cup of dietary products. So that we advise. And why we should advise to everyone is that because the dietary advice is not a short-term diet, because we have to prepare our nation for our generation. It is a long-term lifestyle change. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, and I am ready to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Jana, for the excellent presentation and the beautiful slides. I am sure there will be many questions. We can take 1 2 questions now, or if the organizers want, we can have the questions at the end of the session. And Dr. Sri, can you take it from here?
1 or 2 questions. Feel free to post your questions on the chat box as well.
So thank you, Dr. Jana. We come to the close of this session, and over to Dr. Sri Misra to take it from here.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vinod, and the organizers. Yes. Over to Dr. Sri.
Thank you, Dr. Jana, and thank you, Dr. Patra. It was a wonderful presentation and very relevant in our population.